Well, Thomas, great to have you back here with us. Another day here at the Ryder Cup. Obviously, the guys have been out and played 18 holes. Give us a sense of just how everyone's feeling at the moment, and you've just come off from being out there yourself.
No, they're good. It's a good place. There were a couple that dragging their feet in the end yesterday, and they were tired after, especially the guys travelling across the Atlantic. Were a bit felt like it was a long day yesterday, but we got the golf course done today. There's a good night's rest, and had a nice dinner last night, and they're all in a good place, and they're happy and smiles on their faces, and so yeah, we're pretty happy with everything. I have to say, you're out there and the weather's amazing, and fans are starting to come in. So some of those guys that haven't been in it before are starting to get a feel for what's ahead of them, and so that kind of anticipation is now coming into what it really is all about. So I feel they're in a good place.
Excellent to hear. We'll open it straight up for questions then from the floor. Anyone? Yeah, just in the middle.
I was about to say no,
Mic
none.
3.
Okay, see you later.
We're all done for the day.
Thomas, as you look at making your pairings, what's the recipe for a good foursomes tandem?
The recipe for a good foursomes player, you got to be a good golfer to start with. No, I mean, foursomes is a tough game. Foursomes is a game of being steady and being, it's a hard format in the sense that you're only hitting half of the shots. It's difficult to get that kind of get going, and so you're always a bit. So you got to be on top of your game, and you want to have steady players. You want to have people that knows how to keep their ball in play and just kind of never give anything away. There's so many different type of golfers in the game. There's guys that go out there, they're flamboyant, they play with a lot of, they hit it a little bit here, there, and everywhere, but they get it up and down. In foursomes, it's more the grinders, it's more the people that work hard on the golf course and don't give too many things away and grind it out. Those are the guys that make great foursomes players, but then you look at it and you look at these 24 players. They're quite capable of going out to play foursomes. They're great players. They are, on their day, they all hit a lot of fairways and a lot of greens and hole putts. So that's what makes a good foursomes player, but that's also what makes a good golfer.
Just going to go mic 1, just here to the front.
Thomas, we've heard a lot about the camaraderie and the jokes flying around between the players with WhatsApp groups. I just wondered whether Brexit might have come up at all, whether that's been a wind-up for some of the Englishmen involved.
No.
Okay.
I think England and Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland are part of Europe the last time I looked. So, yeah, no.
Just go mic 3, just to the left there.
Thomas, as we get closer to Friday, what becomes the more difficult aspect? Who to pair or who to sit?
No, I would say they're equally difficult, but I think if you have an overall plan and everybody understands where they're going, for me, in my personal experience was always, if I knew what my plan was, then I was pretty happy with that, and that's what I went with. Then I didn't really bother if how many matches I was playing. Well, this is my plan for the week. I go with that, and if you're in a good place with that and with your players, well, then they'll go with that. Everybody understands that they can't all play 5, and most guys that come into Ryder Cup, they want to be out there. They want to be out on the golf course playing in matches, but they all understand that they got a role to play, and it's just identifying that role. And so it's not easy to mix and match a team. It never is, because as soon as you move one guy, a lot of different parts moves within the whole team. But that's what we're there to do. That's my job, and that's the 5 vice captains. That's what we do together, and then we find the best solution with the whole team. So you try and work those things out. But sitting guys out, that's part and parcel of the Ryder Cup, and that's what makes it great. if everybody played, it becomes a bit like, okay, well, everybody's getting out there. The build-up is not as much fun as it is in the Ryder Cup. It makes it difficult on the captain, but it also gives you guys something to write about, and try and predict what's going on. I have my ideas, and we get together. I get together with my vice captains every day, and we have discussions, and then we lay out a plan, and we communicate with the players well, and they all understand what role they play.
Just going to get you and Mike too, please.
Thomas, if this was a football match, a manager in your position would probably build up this sense of underdog and the sense of playing a great opponent to kind of inspire his own team. Is that the kind of thing you would do? And do you actually believe the heavy hype and favouritism around the American side?
I mean, being underdog or being favourites, my job, and I've said this all along, you can line them up in world rankings, and you can line them up in achievements, and you can line up in whatever, and then the results are what they are. My job is to create a process for those 12 players to go out and perform their best. Are we underdogs? Well, on paper we are, but we still believe that we can win. We still believe that we can go out and do a job on the golf course, and we concentrate on us. We concentrate on what we do, our pairings, the people in our team room, and everything around that, and try and create the best possible environment for those 12. And that's my job. That's the only thing I can focus on. I can't focus on if we're underdogs or if we're favourites, because that gives me nothing. It gives me absolutely nothing. The only thing it gives me is some sort of way of trying to predict the result. All I can do is, I got Wednesday here, I got my plan for Wednesday, what I'm doing with that, I got my plan for tomorrow, what I'm doing with that. And then Friday morning we go with those pairings that we believe are the right pairings for that moment in time. And then we try and do the best on the golf course. I've said all along, I'm so much into the process that I don't really look at that kind of picture. If there was the same I was asked yesterday about winning or losing or whatever, I don't allow myself to get to that moment on Sunday where that's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about what's right in front of me.
We go Mike 1, please.
Hi Thomas. Gregory Avray and Rafa Jacqueline are part of your team this week. We've seen Thomas LeVay here as well. Can you talk about their roles and also how important it was for you to have some French involvement?
No, I mean, we're in France. You gotta respect the nation that you're in, and this country has great players. And when you take certain players that has had such long-standing careers on tour, they're very much part of what we are as a European tour. And it's hard to come across two nicer guys and two better people than Greg and Raf. And I wanted their involvement for two reasons. Yeah, they're French, and people know them. It's nice to be out on the golf course with them. A lot of the French fans recognize them and want to have a chat with them and get behind them being there. And second of all, because I really like them. They're really good friends of mine. I get on really well with them. I know they'll do a job for us. They'll give everything for those players in that team. So that's why they're there. They're great people to have around, and they understand their role. They understand when the players are doing their thing, they go and sit in the corner and have a nice glass of red wine, and that's what they do. And then they get involved when it's right. But they are so good at picking their moments to be involved. And all those 12 players in that team feel great about them. So that's why they're there.
It's going Mike 4, David.
Yeah, Thomas, putting aside the underdog thing, the world rankings show that this is the strongest group of 24 players ever assembled. I mean, does it have that feeling that this is going to be a bit special, we've moved up a notch?
Yeah. Short and simple, yes.
Are you getting that vibe from the players that they feel?
The players, as a player, you go and, you don't think if you are 24th in the world or 18th in the world, you're playing well and you're in a good place in your career, because that's why you're here. So you go and try and do your best. They don't think about it in that way. I see them going out and do their own thing and concentrate on that. But the question is that, are we in for something special? Well, these are the two best teams world ranking-wise has been across from each other in this event. So it's all lined up to be something special, so it's for those 24 players to go out and show that. The surroundings, the golf course, the stands, the fans, all the build-up of being in this great city as well. I think that just adds on for it to be a really, really special occasion for the Ryder Cup and for the game of golf. And for me and Jim, that's a wonderful place to be and a great thing to be a part of.
Just going to go Mike too, Martin.
Thomas, when Rory was in this morning, he talked about 2 years ago him and Thomas Pieters hadn't played together in practice and were effectively thrown together after the 4-0 loss in the opening session. How important is that opening session to be able to stick to a game plan that you have?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's, you build your whole mind up about that first day and how you see that evolving, and you obviously have a plan for Saturday, but that can change from where you are. But so that day is important. So you don't want to fall behind and see your whole plan that you've laid out falling apart in that first session, and that's what it did for Darren. It's not easy as a captain. I would dread being 4-0 down after Friday's morning session, but I think any captain would do that. That's not a great place to be. So then you can't anything but second guess yourself if you're in that situation. But in the end, players have to go out on the golf course and play their golf and do the things that they need to do on the golf course, and that's not always on the captain. It's always sometimes on the players. And that was an unfortunate start for us last time. And hopefully we're not in that situation on Friday.
Staying on mic too, Alistair.
We had John Raman this morning who's very excited. Is there a danger of being too excited? Do you try and temper that, or do you just let him get on with it?
No, you can't be too excited about this.
Well, he is.
No, he's not too excited. He's excited, but he's not too excited.
So there's no danger of...
No, John wants to be on the golf course. Remember where he's from. He's got a long-standing history, his country, with this event, and from the European side, there's no doubt that we wouldn't be in the situation we're in today if it wasn't for Seve, and the Spanish players keep carrying that, and with Ollie coming behind him and Sergio, he's now seeing himself as that next person in line to carry that on. So that's, I would say if I have had that from my country and in my career, those people to look up to for my country and having the possibility to be the next one in line, I'll be pretty excited about it as well. And, John, you all write about golf, you all see golf, out there. We can all see what an exciting prospect he is as a golfer. And why shouldn't you be excited about this? He's looked forward to it for so long.
I'm going to go mic 3, just to the left.
Thomas, I'm just wondering, you've seen it from both sides. What do you think the home field is worth?
I think when you're a player and you step on that first tee, especially the first morning, it's great that it gives you a buzz, and you know that people are with you, and that gives you. But I always feel like when you are 9 holes into it as a player as well, you get down to your business, and then the week kind of what's facing you, and then you carry on. And I watched it so many times that players, they just go out and try and do the job. But you want to have your fans. It's great to have your fans on side and with you. I think it's just a buzz that you can't describe. I thought last time it was, difficult. When you're new to it, it's difficult. It's difficult because this kind of build up and the players, the new guys out on the golf course, and they're like, maybe not as loud and as what they thought, but that's the practice rounds. They're not quite, when you're trying as a captain, so we'll just wait till Friday morning. You trust me, it'll be loud, and there'll be a lot of people, and there'll be a lot of singing and shouting and all that, and you can't prepare them that much for it. But when that starts, it's nice to have it with you instead of with your team, instead of them cheering for the opposing team.
Just going to go mic 1, Derek.
Thomas, you talked earlier about identifying roles for each member of the team. Could you outline Justin Rose's role this week and his importance?
could I outline Justin Rose's role? Well, I mean, I got an internal role for Justin Rose that I'm not going to share with you, but I got Justin Rose, obviously with the stature he has in the game and where he's come from and gone to, he carries a lot of weight on his shoulders, but that's what you expect from the world number 2 and a FedEx Cup champion and an Olympic champion, that you go out and you impose yourself on that team. Now, Justin will do that, and him and I have sat down and identified what his role is and how he does that, which I'm not going to share with anyone, but that's, we have had that conversation. Justin knows his position within the team and how he does that. And that's, let's leave it there.
And Mike 4, please, in the middle.
Henrik had an odd year just with injury and trying to build momentum in his game. What do you see in his game right now, and what's the biggest thing he can bring to this team?
Yeah, but somebody that has stats like he does, he brings a lot of greatness on the golf course, and somebody that, he's an past open champion. He's done great things in the game. These new guys look up to him. They know what he stands for. Henrik is not the type of guy that takes up a lot of space and arms swinging around and being in the middle of that team room. He's the one that's more a little bit in the corner, but you see him all the time having great conversations with people, and he's just, he's very good to have around. He's calm, and he's just a good player. And you look at his year. I think when he did get that injury around just before the Open, I think he kind of, all right, well that was that. I think he felt like he needed to regroup for the coming season and kind of put things in a little bit of a different place for himself. But that doesn't mean when you look at his results that they're just not what we normally seen from Henrik. But that doesn't mean that they're poor. He's just in a different place where he's building for something else. But you watch him on the golf course and you watch him play. He's a phenomenal player and very strong, and he brings a lot, and there was never any doubt in my mind that was a player I wanted here because of what he is as a player and how he plays. And when you look at his stats, he's just kind of bubbling on, always looking like he should be playing great. He's just not quite getting it together, but he's playing well enough to be amongst the 12 best players in Europe, that's for sure.
Just Mike 4 right at the back, Henrik.
Just getting back to that plan, is getting all 12 players in on the course on day 1 part of that plan? Well, I had to try.
You'll have to wait and see Friday, won't you?
Okay, any more questions at all for Mr. Bjørn? I think we're done here for today. Thank you
you
very much for your time.